Hi guys, it's Mrs. Ogle again. I'm ready to do carpet time with you, so I hope you're ready to learn. We've got a couple of extra fun things we're going to do. Let's get started with our song. Here we go. It's time to start our day. It's time to start our day. It's time to give a great big cheer and then be on our way. Hooray! I love doing that with you guys. I missed that for too long, so I'm glad to be singing with you again. Okay, you know the next thing we do. If you're sitting down, can you please stand up for me? We're going to put our hand on our heart and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great job. Now, if you were standing up, go ahead and sit back down for me. Let's look at our calendar. I bet you can remember by now, what month are we in? It's this word right up here. Starts with an A. It's A. April. It's April. That's right. And this is today right here. You might even know just by looking at it what that number is, but we are going to count there anyway. So I hope you'll count with me. Remember, we started on this day. This is number one. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Today is number 9. It's actually Thursday. That's this word right here. Thursday, April 9. If today is number 9, what number do you think tomorrow's going to be? Tell your grown up, ask your grown up, if today is number 9, what number will tomorrow be? See if you can tell your grown up. I bet they'll let you know whether you're right. I have got a really cool idea for you today. So in the goodie bags that Miss H and I dropped off, we left you some popsicle sticks. Can you see those? Popsicle sticks are a lot of fun for a lot of different crafts. Sometimes we use them to make letters, like I could do this. It looks like the letter T. Or I could do this. What letter does that look like? That's a V. But we're going to do something even a little bit different today. We are going to measure things using popsicle sticks. So I'm going to grab something over here. I'm going to grab a book. This is The Curious Garden. I'm going to read this one in a couple of days, not just yet. But I'm going to use my popsicle sticks. Look at this. To measure just how big my book is. How big is my book? It is 2 popsicle sticks big. If my book was bigger, I might need more popsicle sticks. And if my book was smaller, I might need even less. So I want you to try measuring a few things around your house. So here's some things I think you could measure. Can you use your popsicle sticks to measure your favorite book? What about a table somewhere in your house? Maybe you have a table that sits next to a couch or a chair, or maybe there's a table where you eat your cereal every morning. I want you to use those popsicle sticks and see if you can figure out how many popsicle sticks long is that table? What about your shoes? Hmm. Wonder if your shoes will need more popsicle sticks or less popsicle sticks than the table. Ooh, here's a good one, a window. Some windows in our house are bigger and some are smaller. You might have 2 different windows that are different sizes. Use those popsicle sticks to measure a few things. So here's my question. Which one is the longest? Now, if you want to, you and your grown-up, you can pause this video and you can go measure things right now while you've got the list so you can take a peek and you can do some counting and figure it out. Or you can come back and do this after you've watched the video. But I hope you'll tell me which one was the longest. All right, we've been talking about bugs this week, and there are some interesting things that we know about bugs, some really cool things. Are you ready? Let's remember the things that we know about bugs. Bugs have 6 legs. We're going to count them again. I like to count them just so I remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's right, bugs have 6 legs. Do you remember what these are called right here? Tell me, what are those called? If you said antenna, you got it right. Okay, I'm being extra tricky. How about this right here, these 2 little things up by his mouth? They're called something that starts with a p, pinchers. And the ants use those to feel the world around them, to check out what's going on around. Ants also wear their bones on the inside of their bodies or the outside of their bodies. What do you think? Bugs wear their bones on the outside of their bodies. How about you? Look at your skin. Are your bones on the outside? No, your bones are on the inside of your bodies. And all insects have three main body parts. They have a head, a thorax, which is where the legs are, and an abdomen. Some bugs have wings and antennas, and some have stingers, but they all have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. Those are the parts that make up a bug. All right, today's book, I've got it right here. This is called The Little Kid's First Big Book About Bugs, and it has got a lot of really cool bug information in there. So I didn't have enough time because it's a really thick book with so many words. I'd be here all day trying to read it to you. So we're just going to look at two of my favorite kinds of bugs. Now, butterflies are my very favorite. I've told you that. But I really like ants and I really like bees too. So we're going to look at ants and we're going to look at bees. Are you ready? Let's start with ants. Ants are a social insect, and what that means is they live together in groups. You won't usually see one ant all by itself, not for very long. They like to work together and play together, and definitely they live together. Now, where do ants live? Most ants live underground. They come up from underground to get food and do various things that they might need to do, but look at these tunnels they make. They're like really cool road systems and they lead to different places. So they might bring their food down here and they might leave their waste all the way down here. And they have all of these ways to get in and out. These are probably, in this picture, are probably called grass cutter or leaf cutter ants. And what do you think leaf cutter ants eat? Leaves. They like to eat leaves. That's true. There are lots and lots of different ants. I don't know if you noticed on that first page, it said there are over 20,000 kinds of ants. That's so many. So we won't have time to talk about them all, but this picture shows us a few of the types of ants. This right here is a jumping ant. Now, this jumping ant doesn't live where we live. It lives in a country called India. That's not where we're at. But what's really cool about this jumping ant is if it were here right now, it could jump across my book in 5 jumps. I'm going to show my mouse, my little arrow right here, jumping across my book, and I want you to count with me. We'll see if I can get there in 5 jumps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that were an ant jumping across my book, he'd be there in just 5 jumps. This one down here is called a little black ant, and those do live around us. Now, usually they live outside. They are supposed to be outside in the dirt and in the grass. But sometimes they do make their way into our houses if they think they can find food. And do you know ants really like food that is sweet? So does Mrs. Ogle. I really like food that is sweet. These ones right up here, are they bigger or smaller than the little black ants? If you said bigger, I knew it. I knew you would know. These are called crazy ants. Do you know the song we sometimes sing? The ants go marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. Most ants do go marching in a line. That's how most ants work. Crazy ants don't do that. They scatter all over, and they all know where they're going and where they want to get, but they don't all march like the rest of the ants do. So they're called crazy ants. This one right here is called a bulldog ant. Look at those pinchers. They're great big large jaws, and they can bite, but good for us. Those don't live near us either. They live in a whole other country too. They live in Australia. These are called weaver ants. What's really cool about weaver ants is they actually make nests, and they don't live on the dirt. They live up in the trees. Weaver ants don't live around us either. I've never seen a real live weaver ant. They live in Australia and in Asia. So the only ones that live near us are these little black ants and these great big crazy ants. Oh, let's talk about bees. Bees are some of my favorite insects. This bee on the picture is called a honeybee. Now, honeybees are really helpful because they help us get a lot of different types of food. But honeybees even make one certain type of food. Let's think together and see if we can figure out what kind of food a honeybee might make. Do you think a honeybee makes eggs that we eat? No, the honeybee doesn't make eggs for us to eat. Do you think the honeybee makes broccoli? No, that doesn't seem right either. Broccoli grows in gardens and farms. What about pizza? Surely the honeybee makes pizza. No, you probably think Mrs. Ogle is pretty silly, don't you? Because honeybees make honey. And honey is a really good topping that we can put on. It's super sweet. Lots of people like them on biscuits. We can bake with it. Oh, and it's yummy to have. Honeybees are also a very social insect. Do you remember what made ants so social? Did they live alone or did they live in groups? Honeybees live in groups, just like ants do. A worker honeybee, that's what this guy is right here. He's a worker honeybee. He has a stinger on the end of her body. She can use it to keep the hive protected from enemies. But honeybees can only sting one time. They've only got one stinger. After they've used it, they can't sting anymore. They don't want to sting people. They only sting people if they feel scared, like they have to protect their hive. The words on this page tell us the honeybee visits other flowers where some pollen falls off of her body. This is how bees help plants make fruit and seeds so that new plants can grow. Bees are important pollinators, which means they are animals that carry pollen from one plant to another plant. And right here in the center of a flower, that's where the pollen is at. And bees help move it from one plant to another so that new flowers and new fruits can grow. And I told you, honeybees give us yummy honey, but honeybees also help a lot of other really important fruits and vegetables for us, too. Honeybees help things like watermelon, cucumbers, and strawberries because they're such good pollinators. If we didn't have bees, a lot of our food would be harder for us to find. We really need bees, they're super important. There are three main kinds of bees. There's the queen bee, the only one that gets to lay the eggs and be the mommy. There are the drones, and those are the boy bees. And there are the workers, and those are girl bees that work really hard to gather up all of the food that the bees need. Isn't that some cool stuff about honeybees? I didn't know all of that until I started reading with you guys. All right, one last thing before we're done for today. Let's check out these caterpillars. And you remember they've been growing really fast, right? When I woke up this morning, I said, wow, I couldn't believe how much caterpillars had grown. Oh my, look at this. It looks dark. It's a little bit to see. My goodness, they're growing so big. Yes, see this guy here eating. They are so fast. I think before the exciting change. Caterpillars go through some interesting changes in their life. And out for very far away, maybe 2 or 3 more days, start to see them make a really cool change. Checking in tomorrow, we're going to talk about the life cycle of caterpillars. They have a really interesting life cycle. So we're going to talk about it. Guys, come back to my video. Make check out Miss Later tonight with her story. Okay, guys, I'll see you later.